This is why I don't like do political videos anymore on my channel. It's shit like this. It's not so much like rightoids being mad at me or being mad because that's funny. It's this shit. All right. Where do we fucking start? Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. So, somebody posted, "This is the most mad about bedtimes post I've ever seen." 100%. Very funny. You're not safe here, Red Fat. Like, anarchists are objectively cringe. I was just like, why is Marx back there, right? Like, because, like, yeah, Marx had some, like, JQ issues and, like, was an anti-Semite, but also, like, everybody was a fucking anti-Semite in the 1800s, you know? But doesn't make it okay, but, like, also doesn't make him a fascist. He says he doesn't have to tell you you're not even his real dad. Somebody said, "Oh, that's funny." Like I said, like I hate red fascists too, but this is ridiculous. And then this here turned into red fascists isn't a thing. This was the original poster, and I said found one, and he says Reddit is at down the hall to the right, and I'm like, whatever, dude. Like I particularly don't engage with folks here. Like I was just going to leave it at that, and then one of his followers. This chick said no such thing, and I said I know you're mad because you doom scrolled on my profile till you found something to be mean about. Side note about that: software developers need unions too, badly. Evan, what is the relevance of this? Well, Ms. Gina here decided, hey, I'm gonna go on here and find something to bully this man about, and I said, somebody posted on here, yeah, I program in Java, just A, help me, please. I've been stuck in an enterprise dev job for the past 5 years. I'm slowly deteriorating. V, this isn't a meme. This is a legitimate call for help. And me, who has been, trying to find work, in my field and get a job so I can, not be poor anymore, or I can at least pay bills and, have something. Said, y'all got positions? I need a junior dev job, bad, lol. Fun, little thing. And then she says, finds this, by the way, which, just for reference, open link tab, you have to scroll all the way down here to see this. And if you want to see the photos, you have to go over to media, scroll. It doesn't even show up in media. So like they went onto my page to look for shit and said, why don't you make something real for a living? Like, a part of me wants to make like the shit lib argument of, you mean like the fucking site you're talking about, you're talking to me on? You know what I mean? Like, just because but like I don't want to make that. Like, let's be real. Software developers are workers. Software developers are routinely overworked. And that's not the most insane thing that will be said in this thing. I said to her in response, not very proletarian of you to be degrading the labor of other workers. And then she says, you get paid more than me to do less challenging tasks because you were born in a higher class. Go fuck yourself. As much as my parents loved to, pretend that they were of a upper class and stuff like that, my parents were teachers. My mom was like a single mom for years and poor. Like, when I was a little kid, from like birth to about like 10, shit was rough, dude. Like, my parents were middle class, like when I was a teenager, but like, and while like, my parents were teachers, dude. Like, we weren't super wealthy. Like, the benefits that we got, like my mom got to like be able to like take us on like a weekend trip like once every few months somewhere like within drivable distance was because she had a union that paid for shit. The reason she could pick me up from school when I was sick and take a day off and take care of me because she had days off because of the union she was over. But first of all, imagine thinking a vocation is I got because I was born in a higher class. I don't have a college degree. I got the positions I've had through word of mouth, lot of luck, and technical ability I built. Most of it through networking and word of mouth and luck. Also, um, last I checked, I wasn't coding, you know, Java and web applications and web apps out of the womb. I wasn't born into this. We don't have a caste system, but I know that's not what she meant. She's just lashing. And lastly, where she says, "You get paid more than me to do less challenging tasks." I don't know what she does for a living. And I'm not saying that my job, like the job I do, is necessarily, working on an oil rig for 10 hours a day. It's not easy. If it was less challenging and easy, if it wasn't challenging to do, more people would be able to do it. It also had the added negative of the fact that my profession came about in the aftermath of Reagan's complete decimation of the union structure and labor structure in this country. I got fired from my last job because the system told my manager to fire me, and they couldn't do nothing about it. And I was given 24-hour notice. And then I said, "You realize software devs are workers too, right?" And then she said, "You're middle class." And then I said, "Are middle class people not part of the proletariat?" My they, them, and Christ. Did we not? Are middle class people not considered workers, members of like the working class? Middle class is working class. And then she had the gall to say no. Like, am I smoking crack? Like, what the fuck? She also said in another thing, "Quit fucking moaning." And I'm like, you came onto my page under something under my I post like quote tweeted. And then she said, "Not relevant." How the fuck is it not relevant? Like, this is the shit why I don't fuck around with this is why I don't fuck around with other left wingers outside of the ones I already do on the internet, and this is why I don't make content anymore, because the rightoids don't make me mad. I enjoy bullying them in my comment section on YouTube and on the internet. It's fun. I don't mind that because I know I'm right and I know they're wrong. Because, like, at the end of the day, like, their views are so demonstrable. The problem with people like this is I know I'm right. They, like, we might, and the two of us agree on, like, from, like, agree that the world is, like, fucked in that capitalism, the capitalist class, like the millionaires, billionaires in the lattice of work are killing us. The fact that most people, that 62% of all Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, that we are not as a culture, as a species, not doing well, primarily because a small amount of really rich dickheads um treat have almost all of the power and treat the rest of us like shit. We agree on that. But then, like, for those uninitiated watching this, when I say red fash, I'm talking about uh commie boos, campists, formerly called tankies. I'm talking about people that say that they are left wing, that say that they have left wing ideas, but are happy to throw all of those out of the door and jockey for the supportive power of, objectively authoritarian countries like Russia, China, and the United States. I do not tolerate people who, will defend the United States' imperialistic ventures, atrocities, and things like that. But I want to be very clear that when it comes to, like, you can usually tell if somebody is a red fash V type of person if you ask them, if when they start talking about politics, they start talking about imperialism before anything else. If you ask me, like, what are the important, like, issues that what is, like, the important, like, if I were to list, like, the things that are important to me from a political sense, that if you talked, I would talk about unprompted if you started asking me about, like like things like American imperialism is not even in the top 10. Like, I wouldn't be able to, I probably wouldn't get to it too far. Like, I probably would list things like healthcare, wage gap, gender gap, getting an equal rights amendment, of not just, like, between men and women, but between all people. Um, uh, 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 Walkable cities, and deprioritizing car infrastructure, increasing public transportation, taxing wealthy people, removing the restrictions in our society, in banking and in finance, to allow more worker co-ops to be able to proliferate, implementation of workplace democracy, things of that nature. Like, that's the things I go through, and then I would get to things like imperialism. I would get to things like uh stopping America, there's things that America does that are fucked that I would get to before I get to things like NATO and Israel and shit like that. Which, pro Palestine, not happy with the genocide going on in Gaza right now, but, like, I would talk about how, the fact that the U.S. holds control of how much of certain types of drugs can be manufactured, to where other countries' health ministries have to petition the USDA uh, to increase the amount of ADHD medications that places like Australia and New Zealand can produce. You want to know why I mentioned Australia and New Zealand? Because, like, in the last few months, they have petitioned the USDA repeatedly for more to be able to allow them to produce more, because their population needs more. I mean, there's a shortage. So usually you can identify a campist, or a tanky, or a commie boo, or whatever you want to call them, red fascies, by basically, like, asking them a couple political questions, and then, like, see how quickly they start bringing up things like American imperialism, and usually a good question to ask them is, what do you think about the 3-day special operation in Ukraine? And if they don't say Russia needs to get the fuck out of Ukraine and give them their shit back, and they start waxing poetically about, oh, it's a war of Russia's Russia is, like, has been doing it poor. They say something like, oh, Russia has, like, been, like, bad about it, but it's partially understandable because of NATO's aggression on their territory. And then, if they say that the war in if you ask them, when did the Ukrainian 3 days with a 3-day special operation, when did the war in Ukraine start? And they don't say, like, when it started objectively, like 2-3 years ago, like 2 years ago, like, on the date, and they say instead 2014, when the Russian puppet that was in charge of Ukraine got run out of the country because they got tired of being a Russian puppet state. That's usually also a good indicator. They enjoy uh, causing issues. They think that because Russia is the inheritor of the USSR and China is, communist, big fucking air quotes there, that they are in and they are and that they are inherent and they are outside of the Western power structure. They think that they're innately more good. They're not. They are absolutely not. China is an authoritarian hell state that is objectively state capitalist. It is a top down run state. It's not communist. It's communist in the same way that the DPRK is democratic. So I don't know. Sorry for the ramble. I'm just I don't like having my profession degraded, and uh I don't like it when people who I ostensibly I should be agreeing with and we should be coalition building with decide, oh, because of your vocational choice, you were born rich. It's not born rich. It just really is. It's just fucking goofy, man. I don't know. It's just see it's I make a point to not read too much theory, to not be a theory head, because one of the things that has always angered me deeply about the online left has been the propensity for people to say you have to read theory, you have to read X, Y, and Z before you can be a leftist. Fuck you. Fuck you. I want healthcare. I want to tax the rich. I want a livable wage. I want I want workplace. I want a more equitable workplace. I want fucking bigotry to stop. Not necessarily that all that shit in that order. I want a rainbow coalition of American workers across all parts of this country to take back power. And it I don't need to read the words of 100-year-old white dudes, a lot of which, after Marx, like people like Trotsky, Stalin, all of the leaders in the USSR, a lot of those men like fucking sucked. They were authoritarian assholes, anyways. Who gives a shit? Like, I don't give a shit about theory. I care about outcomes, and you're not going to be able to have You're not going to be able to have outcomes that result in people's better standard of living if you are gatekeeping a political ideology behind the ancient texts. I don't care about the ancient texts. I don't want to read this shit. It's stupid. I know what I know. I know what is wrong with our country in regards to like the economic system. I don't. I can see that shit by doing by without I can understand that shit without having to go and read thousands of pages of documents. It just angers me, and and I think it's a huge gatekeep for people who would otherwise agree with everything that we're saying. But again, this is just a silly little fun channel now. No more politics, at least outside of the shorts feed from time to time. I hate people. I want leftism to succeed, but fuck me if I don't hate the online left. Sorry, I'm just like fucking hung up that she said that middle class people aren't part of the proletariat. That just I'm gonna go have a Snickers and drink a bottle of water. Have a good one, everybody.